Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. I am your host, Tasha M. Scott, and I am super excited about being here tonight. Will you do me a favor? I love interaction. I love feedback. This is our very first night of Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. So I would love to know who is joining me tonight. I know I'm live on Facebook, I'm live on LinkedIn, and I'm live on YouTube. So if you'll do me a favor, just say hello in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you are watching me from. Tonight is something that I'm super excited about because it's the beginning. I will be joining you every Tuesday. Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha, and we're going to have some lively discussions. Sometimes it'll be just me, sometimes I'll have some guests with me, but every week we're going to be digging deeper into our personal growth journeys. Just to give you a little backstory about who I am, who is Tasha. So last year I created this Instagram page called Just Tasha, and sometimes we introduce ourselves and we say, "Well, I'm just so and so." Well, I learned the power of just. I looked up the Latin meaning for the word just, and it literally says legitimate, regular, lawful, proper, rightful. And I found out that my name, Tasha, means gift. Hey, Natasha Graham. And actually, it's a descendant from Russia, from Natasha, but it means born on Christmas Day, a gift. So just Tasha means, when I looked at that, I said, I am a perfect gift. And so when I say I'm just Tasha, I am not downplaying myself. I am saying this is who I am. I also happen to be an entrepreneur full time. I've been in the business world for 20 years. I currently have a business called Maximize Growth LLC. I am a mother to an amazing teenage daughter who she'll be 17 this year. I love people. I love to learn. I love to lead. I love to train. In fact, I see Mertice Carter on here. Hey, Mertice from Georgia. I love engaging with people and I love challenging people. But at the end of the day, it's not about what I do for everyone else. It's about what I've been able to do for myself. And that's why I'm taking y'all on a journey, Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha, because I'm going to share some things with you all about what I've been learning on my own journey. And part of what I love to do is I love to read, y'all. As you can see, all these books behind me, I love reading. And so when I thought about how am I going to show up in 2023, how am I going to show up in this space and connect with people, and I had an aha one moment and I said it's going to be around books. So this month we are literally going to be I say this month, the next few weeks, we're going to be going through a book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And if you don't have this book, I highly, highly recommend it. And you can actually see the link inside of the notes here. But every time we get together, we're going to take conversations from this book. But like I always do in my trainings too, I say sometimes the conversations will leap off the pages and your engagement and my what I bring to you is going to help dictate where we take this. Hey, Sandra from South Carolina. I love seeing friends on here. Again, if y'all are joining me, say hey in the comments. Let me know where you're calling it, or where, not calling it from, where you're watching me from. Um, Also, just a little bit about me. In my business, Maximize Growth LLC, I am a professional speaker. I do training and development. I host workshops and I do coaching. But I want to kind of give a backstory tonight before I dig deeper into Atomic Habits, just so you know a little bit about who I am. So, how I got into the coaching world in the first place. I told you I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years now. Well, I had a full-time business as a court reporter. And when I had that business, I was running a six-figure business at the time, but I hit a wall. And some of y'all on here have actually heard this story. So indulge me, okay? Because I want to make sure I introduce myself to those who haven't. But when I was running that business, I hit a wall and life happened to me. I was struggling personally, struggling with finances, struggling in my marriage at the time, struggling with so many different things. I was struggling with insecurity, struggling with low self esteem, just struggling. But I had a six-figure business, and there was a huge disconnect between who I was and the business that I was operating. So I hit rock bottom. And that's when I discovered the world of coaching, because I reached outside of myself and I actually got a life coach. And she was absolutely amazing. Her name was Leslie Vernick. And some of y'all have heard me talk about her. She was absolutely amazing. I signed up for 6 months of coaching with her. And halfway through that, I discovered my purpose. And I told her one day, I said, you know what? I wonder how many, and at the time, my focus was on women. I said, how many women out here who are just like me, who look like they have it all together, but secretly, they're dying on the inside. They're struggling. They don't have it all together. It's just they know how to show up and do what they're supposed to do. But when they go home, like I did, they cry themselves to sleep at night, or they're struggling. And I told her, I said, I want to pay forward what I've been given. So that's when I discovered coaching. That's when I became certified as a life coach. And that's how I shifted from the court reporting world and started doing this part-time until the day came where I was at a crossroad where this business really started growing and I started doing this full time. And so from there, when I started doing that, something happened where it went from where I was doing one-on-one coaching, where my audience was just women. I was doing speaking engagements. I got an invitation to go into a nonprofit, and they wanted me to speak at their leadership retreat. And so I did. And ever since then, the door opened for me to go into organizations. And then my business started evolving. And I love how purpose works, because when you tap into your purpose, doors start opening for you. And doors started opening for me to where it was one organization after another, where now I found myself doing corporate training. I was doing leadership training, teaching around or training around communication, around team unity. And business was great. Business was really good, to the point where I literally, again, had to make another shift where I wasn't doing as many individual coaching sessions anymore. I was doing more over here in the corporate space. And then COVID happens. I was on a roll. COVID happened. And wouldn't you know, because of the traction that I had, business was growing even more because everybody went online. And so I was already doing online trainings and development at that time. So my business started picking up even more because I started doing a lot of my leadership trainings, communication trainings, team unity, and a lot of it was centered around the DISC personality assessment, communication, and things were going really, really well. But life happened to me during that time as well, because COVID was a wake up call for me. In the middle of COVID, they say there's layers to this, right? So you think you've arrived after you've come out of something and you're doing great, then all of a sudden life happens again. Am I the only one that this has happened to? Y'all talk to me here. Am I the only one that this has happened to, where you're going along and you're like, dog, I thought I was over that, or I thought I had conquered that, and then here comes another test, or here comes another obstacle. And COVID was a wake up call for me, because I thought I had dealt with every area. I thought that I was doing really good, but there was one area of my life that it wasn't good. And I went back into counseling, and I had to make some harsh decisions, and I was in a transition place again. And in that transition, I want to say it was the worst of times and it was the best of times, because it was almost like when I went through that personal struggle during COVID, it was an ending, but it was a beginning. Hello? It was an ending of an old version of me, but it was the beginning of possibilities. I didn't know what those possibilities were. I just knew that something new was happening. But I was in a place also during that time after the ending of my marriage. I'll just go ahead and say that. After that ending, I was in a place of, who am I now? Who do I show up as now? And I'll be honest, it was weird because I had to go back into this place of, okay, I'm not that anymore, but I don't quite know what's over here yet. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. And so there were certain things in my life at that time that I had to say no to. I had a community called Connected Women Win. I closed the doors on that. Some of y'all were in that community. I had a mastermind group. I had to close the door on that because I needed time to just step back and just focus on Tasha. I just needed to focus on Tasha and just figure out, who am I now? Who am I supposed to be in the midst of this change, these changes, not just one change, but changes. And I'm so glad for support. I'm so glad to be able to say that there was support there, because in that navigation process, it was weird, it was uncomfortable, it was scary, but it was necessary. And I stepped back from, I used to do these Facebook Lives all the time. I stepped back from this. I realized that it didn't matter about me showing up for everyone else. It mattered about me showing up for me. I had to literally step back and do some digging. And I wish I could tell you that I've arrived, but I haven't, because I'm a work in progress, just like y'all are a work in progress. Hello, we all are works in progress. So I'm not telling you, oh, today I've got it all figured out or I've arrived. I'm telling you some things I'm sharing with you, and we're going to, and all this is leading up to Atomic Habits, I promise. But we're talking Transformational Tuesday. And I have to give you the backstory before we can go forward. But support, yes, support is necessary, Tracy. So because of some amazing support, because of me getting quiet, because of me focusing on me internally, kicking and screaming along the way, what I discovered was, what I'm discovering is who I am. I'm discovering that's where I'm just Tasha. That's where that came from. I am perfectly imperfect. I am a gift. I have a voice, and it's not dependent on anything external. It is about the discovery of me inwardly. And it's so funny because as I go on this journey, when I go out places, people look at me now and they're like, oh my gosh, you're glowing. Or, oh my gosh, you look different. I promise you, I can't even count on my hands how many times people have said that to me. And I used to be like, well, trying to downplay it. But now it's like, I had this aha really just within the last 24 to 36 hours. I don't have to downplay healing. I don't have to downplay progress. I don't have to downplay my transformation. If anything, I am so grateful to be me. I am so grateful to be on this journey. And y'all, I'm looking at my notes here. None of this is in my notes, but I feel like I'm supposed to share this for somebody on here as we dig into this Just Tasha journey, Transformational Tuesday. Is this resonating with somebody here? Because I feel like I'm supposed to share this part. But as like I mentioned, I went on this journey of working with support, with not a whole lot of support, but with some solid support, working on my finances, working on my credit, working on relationships, working on communication, communication with myself, communication with other people, working on my health. I hired a personal trainer. Some of y'all are following my Just Tasha page on Instagram, where I am showing you my workouts. And for a long time, I procrastinated on getting on social media like this, because in that time where I was like, I don't know who I'm supposed to be, I don't know how I'm supposed to show up. my team that was working with me, they were like, we should do this on video. We should do that on video. And I would be like, yeah, we should. But then when it came time for me to do it, I would procrastinate and I'd be paralyzed by fear. And I was like, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. And I realized one of my team members had this aha. She said, Tasha, really the reason why you're paralyzed is probably because you don't want to go back to that old version where you were a slave to the business, where you were operating in workaholic mode. You don't want to go back to that person. So that's probably why you're procrastinating. And so that's when I said, you know what? I know that I have something to say. I know that I want to do this, but I've got to be able to do it my way without all the rules, without the, like, you know how they say you got to do this on social media, you got to show up like this. I didn't want to follow the rules. I just wanted to show up in my own way. And that's when I discovered Just Tasha. And that's when I created the Instagram page where I just started showing the behind the scenes journey of me working out. And it was something amazing about showing up authentically in that space. And I didn't feel the pressure. I didn't feel like I had to perform. I was just showing up. The feedback that I started getting from it, the feedback from clients, the feedback from people that I didn't even know, I realized, okay, it's time to show up again as Just Tasha. And that's where Transformational Tuesdays came. When I came into 2023, I always start the year with a word, and my word this year was transformation. And so that was the backstory that led me here to you tonight. And I wanted to lead us on this journey by using a tool that I love, and that's reading, to center all of this around a book. And the book that we're going to focus on right now is Atomic Habits. So thank y'all so much for your engagement. Tracy, thank you for that comment. Hi, Anita. Good to see you. Thank you, Sandra, for being with me. Tracy, thank you for the comments. You and I have had some conversations. Thank you. And that's what people have been saying. They've been saying, you're glowing, Tasha. And y'all, it's been amazing. So here I am, fast forward on this journey. So we're going to be here every Tuesday. I want to meet here at 7:00. All of these may not be just me. Sometimes I might invite someone to join the conversation, but it'll always be here every week. And we're going to be focused on personal growth. We're going to be focused on leadership. We're going to talk about communication, but all roads lead back to who do we want to be in the process. So that's a little bit of the backstory. Tell me, I would love for you in the comments to tell me, what are you looking forward to? I've shared just a little bit and I'll share more on the way, but what are you looking forward to most on these Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha? What are you looking forward to the most? Hey, Glover fam. So good to see you. Hey, Tina Richardson. Good to see you. What are you looking forward to the most when it comes to these Transformational Tuesdays? And while I'm waiting, if you're just joining us, the book we're going to be over these next few weeks is Atomic Habits by James Clear. The link is in the description if you want to purchase this and follow along with us. It's on Audible as well, and it's on Kindle. But what are you looking forward to the most? Would love for you to share in the comments. But while I'm waiting on that, let me kind of give you a backstory. Tonight, we're just going to go over the introduction for this book. And then as I end these, I will always end with what is our reading for the next time that we get together. And I will say this, y'all, I'm not selling anything on these. This is me just really wanting to give back, add value, and show up in this space. So let's talk through the introduction for Atomic Habits. Mr. James Clear says in the introduction, he said, all of us face challenges. I just got through sharing a couple of my challenges with you all. Every last one of us are a work in progress. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We all have fears. We all have bad habits that we need to break. Some of the bad habits that I'm like I said, work in progress, procrastination, second guessing myself, comparison, worrying too much about people's opinion, fear of responsibility. Some of y'all can probably relate to some of the things I said, or maybe add your own. But every last one of us have challenges. And he says that at the end of the day, when it comes to acknowledging those challenges, we all have the capability of changing. What happens sometimes is that we all, when we think about turning over a new leaf or turning over a new year, sometimes we are overachievers and we want to go all in. It's all or nothing. We want to go hard on the changes. And what he's talking about in this book is changes don't have to be big, bold, and all of this. Sometimes the changes just need to be small changes around our habits. And I'm going to read something. If you have your book on page 7, he says, changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them for years. We all deal with setbacks, but in the long run, the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits. With the same habits, you'll end up with the same results, but with better habits, anything is possible. When I was in that space, I felt like I was in this blank space of who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be focused on now? I realized that the way forward, or the steps that I were taking, they weren't big steps. I got a personal trainer on one day, but I didn't start off just like aggressively working out, working on my finances, getting my credit up. I got help. Somebody helped me with that. Those were small changes that I had to make, small habits that I had to break and adopt new ones, new positive ones. So let me ask you, when he says with better habits, anything is possible, one of the things that I always used to ask my coaching clients is, what is it that you want? Like, forget about everybody else for a minute. Put some blinders on yourself. What do you want? Some of y'all, when I said that, your heart started beating fast. You may have had some anxiety because you're like, I don't know. I don't know what I want. And you're so used to saying, I don't know, that you really have literally just, there's confusion around that, there's pressure around that. But it doesn't have to be the big things, y'all. It's the little things. And if you can just say, maybe the thing that you want is clarity. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want clarity. Maybe you want peace. Maybe you whatever it is, you get to fill in the blank. And then when you fill in that blank, do you believe it's possible? In order for me to improve my credit, I first had to believe that it was possible that my credit could be improved. In order for me to heal, I had to believe that healing was possible. And a lot of it, y'all, a lot of what we're talking about, it has to do with our self-image. Can we get real about it? It has to do with our self-image. It has to do with our self-esteem. And I used to ask a question when I was coaching. I used to ask this question, who do you have to become in order to achieve those goals? But here lately, that's not the question that I want to ask anymore. The question that I want to ask, and I'm asking this of me, is what parts of you do you have to accept to believe that thing that you want is possible? Because sometimes it's not about trying to build this positive self-image or create this positive self-image. Sometimes it's the acceptance of who we are. And part of me on this journey of transformation is learning to accept who I am. Before I can add anything to that, I literally have to accept. Tracy, you and I had some conversations around this when we were working on fashion and wardrobes and all this stuff. And the question that I had to ask before I could put anything on, and whether that's clothes or whether that's purpose, attitude, whatever it is, what part of me do I already accept? Think about that for a minute. What part of you do you actually accept? And I'm going to pause here and go to the comments. Mertice says that a few nuggets to keep going on her journey. Habits are something that she's working on. Good for you, Mertice. Natasha says, I get what you're saying. Um, Maybe kind of stumbled on my life, but I feel like my life isn't my own. My business, I went in because I felt like it was my duty, God-given duty, but I've lost myself on the way. I won't put it on anyone else, but I hope I can learn some wisdom as to how to find my way back. Natasha, I get it. I get it. I get it. And I think that's what happened with me is I lost myself in business. I lost myself in trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, but that I forgot. And in some ways, part of me didn't really even know who is Tasha. So when I say this part about self-image, self-esteem, and self-acceptance, part of it is going on a journey where we really uncover who are we, not who the world says we are, not who other people say we are, but who are we? What is it that we accept? What is it that we like about ourselves? That's why I say we're all a work in progress. And if we get to the place where we can understand ourselves, like ourselves, and accept ourselves, then we can be open for more. Are y'all following me? All right. So, who or what part of you must you accept to achieve the habits, to achieve the goals? James Clear says the only way that he made progress, the only choice that he had was to start small. One step at a time, one day at a time. That's what it's going to take. And how this book, we're just talking introduction tonight, how this book will benefit us all is really understanding that small habits are what are going to help fulfill our potential. Small habits. This book will serve like an operating manual because it's a step-by-step guide that's going to help us learn how to build these better habits through the lens of seeing ourselves through a positive self-image, positive self-acceptance, positive self-esteem. Now, I have to take a side note here. I am a woman of faith. I believe in the Bible. I believe God. I believe my faith is a huge part of me. And I want to just say this. I believe the Bible is like, I read the Bible, I read scriptures, I meditate, I pray, I do. And I also believe that God gives us resources. And so this book is a resource, just like counseling was a resource for me, just like life coaching was a resource for me, just like my small circle of support is a resource for me. I believe God uses all of that. So I want to make sure that I'm making it crystal clear. I'm not saying for all my Bible folks out here, I'm not saying throw the Bible away and just focus on this. I'm saying I believe the Bible is the foundation and I believe God gives us resources. So this is a resource. Okay. Just wanted to say that. But what he talks about in this book is he talks about 4-step model of habits. And we're going to dig deeper into this in these chapters. In fact, I'm going to kind of read the laws he talks about. He has 4 laws around behavior change. The first one, he says, make it obvious. The second law, make it attractive. The third law, make it easy. And the fourth law is make it satisfying. So we're going to spend some time in this book study going over those 4 laws, learning how to create habits, learning about the laws of behavior change. And just know this, there's not one right way to create a habit. What he's going to be talking about here is some strategies. Okay. So this is why it's crucial for us to be on the journey of self-acceptance, because some of the strategies, some of y'all are going to pick up and run with it this way. Some of y'all are going to pick up other strategies and run with it that way. This is not a cookie cutter formula to say, do everything that Tasha did to transform your life or follow everything to the T in this book. Hopefully, this is going to give you some things to be thinking about and open your eyes and stir your creative juices and open the door for you to really lean in deeper into this. Because how many of y'all have actually, be honest, how many of y'all have actually worked on this? How many of y'all have actually worked on this? You've actually done it. You've actually, I see here where some people saying, you're wanting to push yourself, you're wanting to grow, but how many of you all have been really all in on this? Be honest, because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't all in. There's layers to this. There's levels to this. I wasn't all in like I am now. And again, this is a journey where nobody's going to know like you know. So this is not about you checking in with me on this. This is about you checking in with yourself. What I'm doing is really just really being a tour guide to kind of say, hey, these are some things that I've done. These are some resources through these Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. But at the end of the day, the work is yours, my friend. So I'm going to go back here to the chat. Thank you, Martise, for that. Yeah, Natasha, I relate so much to what you're saying. I relate so much to what you're saying. That whole self-image thing, sometimes we have to throw away the expectations of what we think people want of us and literally see it for ourselves. See it for ourselves. And then when we can see it for ourselves, that's what we will exude to other people. Tracy says, I'm desiring to know who Tracy is. I want to know the true essence of my being, how to create the life I want here on this earth. Amen, Tracy. Athena says, pushing myself for my business. Love it, love it, love it. All right, y'all. Well, this is Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. Tonight was really just meant to be an introduction to really kind of just share my backstory, say hello to some people that I haven't seen in a while, meet some people along the way. If you will do me a favor, share this with someone. Show up next Tuesday. And what we'll do next Tuesday for our reading is we're going to go through the first law, and that is make it up. I'm sorry, but I can't skip. We're going to go over the fundamentals. We're going to go over the fundamentals next week, and that is going to be really pages 13 through, let me see here. It's that first section. So really, we're just going to go over the fundamentals, chapters 1, 2, and 3. So why tiny changes make a big difference. So I am super excited about this, y'all. I'm going to try to keep these 30 minutes or less. But again, show up next week. Bring somebody with you. Share the link. And let's go on this journey of transformation together. And I'm, again, like I mentioned before, this is just me wanting to add value. If you want to follow me, you all have my handle at Maximize Now on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. If you want to follow my personal journey, it's at just_Tasha 2.0 on Instagram. So thank you so much. And Sandra says here, I get you. I'm reclaiming my design and my purpose from Ephesians 2:10. I love it, Sandra. Good evening, Karen. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right, y'all, that's it. Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. I just wanted to keep this really brief tonight just to give you an introduction of who I am, why I'm doing this, and what to look forward to. So next Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. Central Time, Transformational Tuesdays with Tasha. Bring somebody with you, and y'all, let's go on this transformational journey together. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.